Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex and this is Big Baby Reviews. Today is Erik Larsen Day. It's Saturday. We're looking at the Savage Dragon issue number 35, cover dated February 1997. Second part crossover with Hellboy in this issue. Once again, Larsen doing kind of the Mignola pastiche, you know, doing the more angular lines, the darker shadows, the kind of horizontal hatching, while still maintaining obviously some of his stylistic ticks, so it kind of blends together well with the dragon. One thing I noticed on this cover and then looked on the interiors, and it's kind of going on there as well, is the fact that I don't know if I pointed out last issue, I don't think I really noticed. I talked mostly about how Larsen graphically interpreted Hellboy with the angular lines and all that stuff. Very similar to Mignola's style, even with the chest hair, all that stuff. What I didn't notice though is he, in an Image comic, which at the time is known for, you know, computer coloring and, you know, gradients and lighter, darker tones and all that stuff, he's coloring Hellboy just like in the Hellboy series, which is more times than not just a flat red color for him and a flat kind of greenish brown for the trench coat, etc., right? Just mostly flat colors in Hellboy when it is colored. So I think obviously that just jumped out at me right here on the cover, and that also lends that Hellboy feel to it, right? The not quite as defined and modeled kind of coloring, but just, you know, flat old school coloring. And that's what we're gonna get when we look inside. Not right away though, because we've got some Image style images here, which look great, by the way. This super angry, slithering, slobbering monkey, right, with Hitler's brain, we learned last issue. So great concept from Erik Larsen. And I feel like, I guess Hellboy never actually tackles, I think I asked this last issue, actually tackles Hitler in his own comic. I'm not quite sure. Maybe someone has an answer to that. I haven't read all the Hellboy stuff. I've read some of it and I don't remember Hitler. So there you go. A lot of Nazis, but not Hitler. Credits: Erik Larsen, creator, writer, penciler, inker. Mike Mignola, Hellboy creator and dialogue coach, so helped out with the Hellboy's dialogue, obviously. Chris Eliopoulos, letterer. iHawk are doing the colors. I'm not even going to ask anymore about the film output. But yeah, great striking image here. Very kind of slightly Kirby-esque looking kind of lines and hatching and stuff, which I love. The twisted fists that Larsen always draws so well. And boom, there you go. We hit Hellboy, and all of a sudden, man, we are in Mike Mignola land for sure. Look at that. And that current style where he started getting a little rougher with it and just even simpler in the shapes and stuff. Big triangles for folds and whatever. Like, this is a pretty simplified version of folds, but we get it and we understand what's going on. His face has gotten a lot harsher here, right? A lot of rough lines. I like this is even maybe past Mignola, right? In a certain way, but I like it. It's pretty cool. And the angularness of the proportions and the lines, even the proportions of the legs, the big muscle forearm, but the long, kind of lanky, bony arm. Hellboy actually was a very big, kind of muscular kind of character at the beginning, and then slowly he kind of shrunk. Not literally, but you know, graphically, I guess. And he's just drawn the right hand of doom. Insanely huge, but it looks great. But just, yeah, he's already pretty angular with the Savage Dragon a lot. But, I mean, with, you know, this, it's just, you know, he could almost be drawing the actual Hellboy series with a style like this, you know. I think it'd be kind of cool if at some point Mignola hired Larsen to do a Hellboy in that style. There's like man, I'm going to sound crazy by saying this, but there's something akin to, like, Charlie Brown almost in the way that he's inking here. And, you know, again, Larsen doing Mignola ending up looking a little bit like a Charles Schultz finish. Am I crazy there? Oh, and I'm going to mention, yeah, so Hellboy is, I guess the right hand of doom is being controlled by Hitler, and that's why Hellboy seems to be attacking the Savage Dragon, even though the dialogue, excuse me, even though the dialogue implies that, you know, he's an unwilling participant in this fight. Love this kind of impact shot that he gives us here. You know, Hellboy and Savage Dragon crashing into this guy's crates on a truck, right, that's moving. All of that is really apparent in the panel. The different textures, the rough-hewn textures he uses for the ground, the shadows on the buildings, right? But, you know, it's all these rough textures that he's using. Shadows here, you know, the debris and the wood kind of exploding, all of that. Is still different in and among themselves, where you can clearly see the wood down here, the reflections in the windows, right, of these buildings, and everything's clear and instantly identifiable, even though it's all these rough textures. Textures is definitely one of Larson's great strengths. So Vampire has bitten Cyberface last issue. Didn't really work. Zombie guy, you know, wants to give it a try, but, you know, they're saying that he just wants to eat a person, right? So that little bit of plot line still carrying on. I like this guy's design here. It's just very simple, and these kind of pods sticking out of the back of his neck there. This is, you know, a faraway shot, but very, very Hellboy. Once again, just easily identifiable shapes. You know, when it comes to Hellboy, he is a character that in silhouette is easily identifiable. Savage Dragon is as well, right? Maybe that's part of their appeal. Someone, I forget who it was. There is an artist who said if you can draw your character in silhouette and everyone recognizes him, you probably got something going there. Bet you, you know, if you see the silhouette of Mr. T, you would recognize him. All right, so we've got some Kirby creature coming out of the water, right? So this is Erik Larsen showing us his love for old Atlas monster comics from the 50s and early 60s. Definitely Kirby inspired. Looks really cool. You know, again, I'm not going to complain when anytime Erik Larsen is doing something Kirby inspired. I think he's one of the artists out there who does it the best, where it doesn't literally veer into pure Kirby, but, you know, he definitely has a way of channeling those dynamics and those designs, as you can see here, but then doing something like this. I mean, maybe Kirby would have done something like this, but that's a pretty crazy panel of this huge monster just coming down to bite down on Dragon and Hellboy. I think that's a pretty cool panel right there. More slobber. Now, he makes a point of literally showing you here, it's shaded, but that the character has an ass, right? Because later that's going to come into play in the storyline. So Hitler assumes they're dead and that this creature has, Hitler ape, I guess we'll call him, and that this creature has eaten them up. But for some reason, heads towards the city, and Hitler ape is not happy. Cadaver, once again, this character here, that I don't know for sure if he's inspired Larsen to create a Mignola-like character, or if he is a character from the Mignola series. I'm tending towards more Larsen having created it, but again, if anyone has an answer, let me know. Pretty cool design on that guy there. I remember this short guy here from earlier on the Savage Dragon series. If he didn't appear early on, it seems like Larsen's bringing him back here just for fun. So yeah, Cadaver's helped him out by sucking the life out of the characters around here and giving him life for at least a while, right? He's restored him, but it's not permanent. Nice Hellboy kind of influence page here. All these silhouettes. Again, what I talked about before, how the dragon's silhouette and Hellboy's silhouette are pretty distinct, right? You throw in the tail, the right hand of doom. With Savage Dragon, I guess it's the fin and some body hair. So they have been eaten up by the creature. Excuse me. I thought they just dodged it. Well, there we go. So they're inside this creature now and fighting pirates. So I guess this is the part where it goes really off into a lot of Hellboy kind of stuff. Another cool shot of, again, this Cadaver guy. Just the design of him, the arms filling around and the little kind of Hellraiser wires that are holding his body parts together. I just really like it. This was interesting to me. The Savage Dragon and Hellboy pinup by J. Hellshock Lee. So I'm not sure at this point if Hellshock, I think the first series had already come out, so they're probably referring to the second Hellshock series that he did. I'm not sure on that, the timeline, but I will say that compared to what I've been reviewing right now, where he's just about to jump at Image and he's doing that Spider-Man, you know, deadline job is what I'll call it, even though I do enjoy it. His art style has already changed quite a bit here and veered more towards what he would be doing later on with Inhumans and even what we see today with his covers that he does. I've seen a lot of stuff he's doing for like Thundercats comics and old 80s properties. And pretty good stuff, honestly. Here it's still a little bit rougher in the textures and stuff, but he's definitely downplayed the proportions and bringing it down to earth a little bit more than before. It's kind of weird because the way he drew him here, it feels like he didn't really know exactly how Hellboy's design actually went down around this area here. If I'm not mistaken, he's got kind of shorts on that kind of stop around here on his leg, but it just looks like Hellboy here, unfortunately, is kind of just a pervert in a trench coat. You know, he might be wearing a belt here, but he's basically naked under there. To me, that's what it looks like anyways. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Another cool Hellboy-esque shot here. Very, you know, I would throw that right in there in the Hellboy world. the way he does the abs even and the muscles, very Mignola. You can see, you know, a good example of it here. I guess this is in around the same time. That's what Hellboy's looking like. The Hellboy's already shrunk from this. He's already gotten like thinner and gaunter. All these huge monster shots, just, you know, no matter from which angle, he always feels huge, right? He just, the way he frames it, I think, is just great. There's a bit of a manga Godzilla kind of thing going on there. Oh, man. Yeah, this whole sequence kind of feels a little bit manga to me. Larson just has a way with movement, dynamics, and foreshortening. It's amazing. These 2 pages are really great. All the various angles and stuff, the movement, even the way he uses the, you know, speed lines, dynamic lines, whatever you want to call them, right? Using the Simonson inspired kind of lettering. Or actually, I think the actual letterer who lettered Simonson also lettered Savage Dragon, right? Am I wrong on that? Pretty sure that's true. But correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Using the silhouettes once again, and basically what's being implied here from the shape of things is that, you guessed it, they're going to be exiting the creature from the rear. He doesn't make it too graphic. There's only one just quick shot of them coming out of his ass, and at an angle which is, I guess, somewhat flattering. We're not seeing too... it's not the Brothers Grimsby or anything like that, even though was not an anus, was a vagina, but, you know, go check out that movie to see what I'm talking about. It's one of the best scenes ever. So again, back to the conflict with Hitler Ape, or Ape Hitler, and eventually they do succeed in kind of plopping. What happens here? He punches him, and the dome comes off, and the brain pops out. I guess, yeah, I'm quite a little bit confused what happens here. He punches him in the face. Try pulling that thing off. Okay, so that's what, okay. And then the Hitler brain starts running away. Like what, it's got a little robot body under there. Hellboy shoots at it, misses. I think that's a Hellboy trope, that he's a bad shot. Savage Dragon grabs the knife that was stuck in his back and stabs the brain with it. And there they've got Hitler's brain. And, you know, there's a little bit of conflict between Hellboy and Savage Dragon in spite of them throughout this whole crossover, but it is kind of refreshing to see one where they're just basically cooperating from the beginning, right? And it's kind of a cool nod at the end. As Hellboy says, if you're ever looking to make a career change, we could use a guy like you. Government work, eh? Keep in touch. After this little fiasco, I may be looking for a new job. Which is, you know, I'm not quite sure where the storyline's going, so we'll see. I do think there is kind of a change at some point in the Savage Dragon continuity with the first dragon. I know, you know, now it's his son in the series. But yeah, the idea that he could be kind of part of the, what is it, the BRPD or something like that, whatever organization, the paranormal organization Hellboy is part of, you know, in a strange way that Savage Dragon, I think, graphically would fit right in there, right? Same kind of man monster motif would fit right in. The hugest letter column ever, at least throughout the 90s. There you go, guys. That's my review of the Savage Dragon issue number 35. If you're subscribed and you're still watching, thank you so much. Really do appreciate your support. If you are not, please do so below. It really helps out the channel. We're on a road to 500 subscribers where YouTube officially kind of recognizes us as a channel and starts helping out a little bit. So please, if you know anyone who might be interested, let them know about the channel and help the channel grow, help get us out there even more. And to all the people out there who are into comic books, just like we are, everyone out there, thank you so much once again. Have an awesome day. King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KingComics.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby. Like!